We interrupt the current vlog series that you are currently watching to bring you this special Haunted Treasures Report. Hey folks, welcome to this special Haunted Treasures Report. We're cutting in to the pillar project. You see we got the arches going over there. We'll get more on that in the other vlog. Was contacted this weekend by a dear friend. Yeah, a lot of you know him. Either as Barry Flanagan on Facebook or Drop Dead on YouTube. He was interested in my old power station. He just doesn't want the carcass, though. He wants me to custom the design and make him one. And so we've got another power station build I need to get done for him. But he commissioned me to make not only reassemble but upgrade the old power station, as well as he wants some white light LED floodlights for emergency lighting in his haunt. So we're going to go through and rehab the old carcass and update it with all new power supplies, and we're going to make him a series of floodlights to go along with it for emergency lighting. And I thought I would do a little bit of a vlog. Would like to do a shout out to Barry, Mr. Drop Dead, and say thank you for the order. We'll get things going as parts get in, and we'll see where we can go from there. Okay, a lot of my parts for the power box are on order. I've gotten some supplies locally, and we've got the carcass we can work on. So there's some things I can do now. I've got parts and everything. I gave Barry, when we were talking about price on rebuilding this, I gave him a good discount on it, because we're going to be reusing the switches that went on the back for plugging in the lights. We're going to be reusing the carcass naturally. We're also going to be reusing the switches for the front panel here. The most of them, except for the power switches that we're going to need. So I gave him a discounted rate on it, because we're going to be reusing some stuff instead of buying all brand new. Right now we're going to get working on the carcass. I need to get the lid taken off yet, and I need to drill a second hole here. That's where the main power toggle switch was. We're going to put in a second one. Then we need to get this all sanded down, cleaned up, sprayed black. And I may need to clean the hinge up too. I'll have to double check that hinge. So we're going to get started working on this for now. I've got the switches and stuff in the house. I can start getting those wired up and stuff too. The main thing I'm waiting for on the box is the power supplies. And those should be in a couple of weeks. But almost everything else, I've got the spare parts here, so we can get quite a bit done. Well, we got the old case out in the shop. It's torn apart, cleaned up, sanded, what have you, and it's been painted. We're waiting for it to dry. So while it's drying, figure I could come in here and start doing some of the preliminary wiring and testing. Now, these are some of the old switches from the box. I need to go through and get these rewired up and test them to make sure they all still work. I didn't melt any connections or anything on them. And then we're going to reuse them in the box. Now, I quoted the price for the box to Barry. It was underneath the assumption that I'm going to be able to reuse the case, which means I won't have to buy wood. I wouldn't be able to work with having to cut it out and assemble it and all that. And then we're going to try to reuse some of the old switches too. And I'm just going to throw these in on the house for him to help out with the build. We'll have to charge him if I have to use any brand new switches though. But we got to go through here. I got to get these all sorted out, counted, and see if I'm going to need to order any more. But that's our next step. It's basically I got to get the wires back on them, get them cleaned up, get them tested, and what have you. And I figure I could do that while the case is drying. Well, we've made some progress. We've got the old carcass cleaned up, painted, put back together. We got some fresh screen on the inside of it. And then yesterday I went through and got all the fittings soldered up and getting all the switches, the buttons and stuff in and wired up to a point. So we're gonna get started doing that. And I'm pretty sure Barry's getting excited about getting this. He wants to have something to play with, as if he doesn't have enough to play with already. We got about 4 days work in on Barry's power box. And so far we've gotten the box sanded down, repainted, we've got the switches in, and now we have all the wiring done. I still need to put a couple clips in here to hold the wires a little bit better. These are a little bit too bulky right there. I'm afraid they'll, if he opens it up enough, it might weaken them. And I'll do that tomorrow. Today is Monday. I got father-daughter time, so I'm going to stop working for now. The only other thing I have to put in here now is the power supplies themselves, and they were delivered today. So I have the power supplies. So tomorrow we'll get in here. I'll get the clips on in here, and we'll start getting the power supplies in. Well, we're just about to the end of the power box for Barry. I've had a couple of changes I had to do. The first one was on the switches. I was going to reuse the original switches with the box, and I just had too many of them damaged. So I talked to Barry, and I had a bunch of switches off the new box I made left over. I was able to do that. So none of these switches will be lighting up at all. And Barry was fine with that. He didn't care whether there was an indicator light showing that the switches were on or not. But we ended up putting in totally brand new switches on the box instead of reusing the old ones. And then we also got the inside of the box all wired up. Looks a lot neater than the old one. The old one, I had a huge band of ribbons coming down the front end and then going into the computer power supplies. This is actually a lot neater. These little rails I ended up using in here to hook everything up really cleaned up the box. Now we got the 2 server power supplies in, and they're both tied to their own power switch, so you can have one or both on. And then the power strip I've got in here is a temporary one. Barry's got one at home that he's going to use his own. So I've got this one in here simply for the matter of testing. When I get ready to ship it, I'll take this one out and then ship down the power box to him without it, and he'll have to put it in. And then he'll have to secure his wires too. I just got them bundled in here right now. And then when he gets his own power bar in there, he can get them fastened down as needed. I just didn't want them flopping around inside the case when the case is being shipped. But only thing I've got left to do now that it's all wired up, is I need to go through and test each of the circuits. And then I need to label all the circuits too. This power switch here controls that power supply there, and the other one controls that one. And so I gotta get those tagged. I've got to get the switches all marked, as well as the fittings in the back, as well as go through and test each and every one. And for testing them, it's just really simple. All I'm going to do is I've got a flickering yellow LED here, and I'm just going to attach this to each circuit, throw the switch if the light comes on, and then the circuit works. And if for some reason the light doesn't come on, then I've got to go through my wiring and trace down if I, in case I misconnected something in there, which is possible. And I want to test it, make sure everything's working functionally. Not bad. We're finished. It didn't take long. I've got the power switches marked System 1, System 2. Okay, System 1 is one power supply, System 2 is the other power supply. Then I labeled the buttons, and System 1 for this toggle here, if you throw this toggle switch, it will send power to all 18 of these buttons. System 2, if you throw that switch, will send power to all of these switches. Now on the back of the box, I also marked each of the toggles. 1, 2, and that one's over there, 1, 2, 3. The one, like on this one here where I have the LED attached to, number 1 ties into button 1. Now the idea on the box, what Barry wanted to do, he wanted to use it for running all his lighting in his haunt. Okay, I don't know if he's planning on doing motors with the box, like windshield wiper motors, anything that runs off a 12 volt. He could also tie into this box. But he also wanted emergency lighting. So what way I have the box configured, and right now I have system 1. So I'm going to turn on the power to system 1 there. And I've got this LED tied into the number 1 connection. Throw this switch and the LED comes on. Throw the switch again. Oh, wrong switch. Let's see here. There we go. Number 1 on, number 1 off. Okay. Now what he's going to have to do is when he plugs in his system, let's say to system 2 here, which I would recommend for his emergency lighting, is he'd hook up his lights to the jacks in the back, turn on the appropriate switches. You know, if he only has things plugged into 4 connections back there, have those 4 switches on. And I think we'll change it here. We'll show you over here. We can demonstrate over here. Okay. Turn your power on. Hook up your items. Turn the power on, and then throw your switch. That turns the item on. Now, if he wants to kill it, he can either go through here and turn off each of the individual switches, like I just did with this one, or he can come over here to the master switch. If you watch, it goes off. I threw the master switch. You do the same thing. So it gives him some control. You can either turn things on and off via the actual switches or by the master power for each computer supply. So like if he's doing his emergency lighting, he would just leave that switch on and control his emergency lighting by throwing the switch to turn it on and off. You know, real basic. And the nice thing about this setup with this power box, I've decided I'm going to put power boxes up on our Haunted Treasures Etsy page. So if any of you out there are interested in a power box, we can do you up a power box. They are going to be set up as custom order. In other words, you order it, pay for it, and then it's going to take about 6 weeks for me to get this to you. For the simple fact, I've got to order parts, and some of the parts take a while to get in. So we'll have this box here. They'll be going for about $450, and you can configure it on the inside with the power. You can either go double 12 volt like what I've got, or you can set it up for 12 volt 5 volt or 12 volt 3 volt, you know, and be able to control it. You'll have a choice of either plain switches like what I've got on here, non-lighted, or like I did on the main big power box where I put a little LED in here, so when you turn the switch on you can tell that the switch is on because it'll have an indicator light here. So we'll do this size box here. Will be $450. Then I'm also going to put that one up too, and that'll be a custom make, same thing, 6 to 8 weeks for delivery on it, due to the fact I'm going to make it from scratch. I do not want to pre-make these and have a bunch of these sitting around. I don't have room for storage, so they get made when you order them. But that one there has double 12 volt on the toggle switches. All the switches are LED lighted, and then we got a 5 volt system, 3 volt system, and a separate power supply strictly for emergency lighting in that. And that one's going to be around $900 for that box. So that is a lot of work with that one. But we'll have those available up on the Etsy store. But for right now, I just basically wanted to focus on the box for Barry. He's our first customer, and gave him a little bit of a price break, you know, trying to help him out on this, you know. So we reuse the old carcass, and I reused a lot of the old the original parts and stuff in the box. So he got a nice little discount on the box. But all in all, for your Haunted Treasures update, it was the work of remaking this power box, and the announcement that we are going to be selling these on our Etsy store. Barry, there's your power box. Hopefully it will meet to your approval once you get it. I still got your floodlights to make yet, and then once I get those made, I'll get them all shipped off to you all together like we originally discussed. This has been a Haunted Treasures special report. We now return you to your normally scheduled prop series videos.